Shaping light. Up until this point in the course, everything we've touched on has talked about motivating, sources in the frame, deciding on where to key from, key, fill, backlight. All of these fundamentals are really important, but the final step to really make your lighting sing comes from shaping light. Shaping light is the act of taking flags and other grip items to remove light from unwanted areas, and in doing so, your lighting will look so much stronger. So let's jump right in. The main reason for needing to shape light is often we're using soft light as a key light. And when doing so, the light by design is spreading softly, not only on your subject, but on the back wall behind them and on other areas of your set as well. So to prevent this, you need to bring in flags to control this light. An easy way to think of this is like the barn doors on tungsten lights, or the leaves on a Leco. We've touched on these lights in earlier sections of the course, and those are ways of controlling the light. But if you build a light, you have a sky panel, chimera, double break, maybe you got it all dialed in, you don't really have any barn doors. You're just sort of puking light onto the set. So think of, when you're shaping light is back to those sort of early fundamentals of how a tungsten light, the very rudimentary, left barn door, right barn door, you're essentially doing that with flags, a very larger scale version on some of the sources that you're setting up. So when it comes to shaping light, there's sort of a verbiage or communication. Depending on where the flag is, it's called something different. So as a DP, you're going to be calling out for these certain things, and we're going to kind of equip you with that sort of that language of how you would talk to your key grip, for instance, to dial in a flag. You wouldn't say, can we get a flag on the lamp right? You could, but there's a much more efficient way of saying that. And this term is called siders. Not like apple cider, but think of like the side door, side-er, just adding ER to side. So a cider is basically a flag on the lamp right or a flag on the lamp left. We just want to take a moment and elaborate a little further on the terms lamp left and lamp right. Though the terms left and right seem like pretty easy to grasp, where it gets a little confusing is who's left and who's right. The easiest way to understand this is if you're standing at the base of the light, looking in the direction that the light is pointing towards your scene, your set, your subject, it would be your left would be lamp left and your right would be lamp right. Where this gets confusing or tricky is in most circumstances as a DP, you're going to be on the other end of that diffusion. So everything's going to be inverted. So if you're a DP looking at that light source, that might actually be your right. But to communicate to the gaffer or key grip or whoever might be manipulating that light, you're going to have to invert it. So your right is actually going to be lamp left and vice versa. Understanding this, as confusing as that might sound, will effectively allow you to communicate to your crew when making adjustments to flags and to panning lights in certain directions. I think the best way to show you how a sider effectively works to cut, control, and shape light is by showing you a before and after. So here's the first shot. It is a subject being lit with a light going through diffusion with no flags and no siders. And here's the same shot, the only difference being we added a lamp left sider. You can see by just adding one flag, a lamp left sider, we were able to cut all of the light and spill from hitting the back wall. So keep this in mind as you're lighting your scene. That's essentially what siders and all flags do in general, is they help you control and shape your light from hitting unwanted areas of your set. So far we've introduced siders, lamp left sider, lamp right siders. So as you imagine, the top and bottom flags, those identifiers are called a topper and a bottomer. I know they're not the most imaginative to the names, but for communicating to your key grip, that's all you're gonna wanna remember. Siders, left or right, topper or bottomer. Those 4 areas are basically a way of communicating where a flag's gonna go. I think the best way to show you how a topper and bottomer effectively work to control and shape light is by showing you a before and after. So we've got our same subject from our previous demonstration. We've actually still left the sider, controlling and cutting light off the back wall, but that's it. There's no toppers, no bottomers. This is what the frame looks like. And now we're gonna bring in a topper and a bottomer. And you can instantly see the results. I mean, we've effectively removed light from everywhere in the set except for the subject's face. And I know this is a little extreme and pretty stylized, but essentially what we've tried to do is just show you how you can use flags in different areas from a sider, a topper, and a bottomer to effectively remove light from your set. That's essentially what using flags and shaping light is. You're, lighting a scene, you're bringing in flags, and you're essentially just sculpting your light to look a certain way. But we haven't really touched on the types of flags you'd use for these sort of different terms. So for me, siders, I typically lean towards a 4x4 black solid floppy. 4x4 black solid floppy is a pretty standard thing in most grip packages. Most, 3 tons, 5 tons, whatever your grip package might be, will typically include these. But if you're building your own kit from scratch, always throw at least 5 to 10 of these on there. Not only are they great for negative fill, but they're also really great for controlling and shaping light. When it gets to a topper and bottomer, I do feel like if you are working with like an 8x8 for a double break or an 8x8 frame for a book light, when you're using larger sources for diffusing, I do find that the black solid floppies are better for siders, and there's actually a better flag for the topper and the bottomer. The first would either be a meat axe. A meat axe is just a name or identifier to a longer flag that's actually intended to really reach over, from the side and extend to kind of cover your, larger source. Or better yet, a wag flag. A wag flag is actually, think of like a fabric diffusion, but instead it's just painted black. And you can actually roll and twist it down to really just sort of, it's a very precision tool for dialing in toppers and bottomers. I will say though, the wag flag is really only for indoors. Since it is a lighter fabric, the wind will take it away. But if you are in like a studio, stage, maybe an interior, if you're using toppers and bottomers to control light, I'd opt for a wag flag, but knowing that a meat axe flag will do just the same trick. As you're shaping light, you're inherently moving flags in front of your source, but as you move the flags closer to the light or further away from the light, it's going to have a different effect on the cut of light you're making. For instance, if you want a hard cut of light, a very aggressive, say noir style streak, you're going to want the flag as far away as possible from the source. Think of like looking at the sun, right? The sun's a million miles away. If you hold your hand out, you're going to have a totally huge, drop shadow, on the ground on a sunny day. That's the same sort of math. Think about how far away that sun is. So apply that sort of same methodology to flags. If your flag is further away from the source of light, the cast of shadow or the cut it's going to make is going to be much harder. But think about moving your hand or flag much closer to the light. The shadow is going to be a lot more softer. So you can use this stylistically or creatively to your advantage. Say you just want a really soft sort of roll off and you just want to slow down the back. Well, maybe move the flag a little closer and that sort of cut's going to just sort of feather the edges. But say you do want that hard sort of noir style cut, then you'd want to get the flag further away. So as we touched on earlier, dialing in your grips to get the flags just out of frame, these are things you can do creatively getting the flag closer or away from your source that you're trying to shape to get different styles and different sort of soft or hard qualities to the cut you're making. I find the really good trick for me, if I'm cam opping or in DPing, I'm looking through the viewfinder, is dial in your grips the way you dial in a boom op. The boom op's gonna spike his frame, the boom's gonna be in the shot, and you're gonna go, 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 go until it's out of frame. I would do the same with your siders. The siders, toppers, bottoms, all these shaping, these different flags that are gonna be used for shaping light, they have the best effect when you can really be a little more aggressive with them, which tends to be they're right on the edge of your frame. But when you can do that, it's helpful to have the thing in the shot and then tell your grip to inch it out of the shot. And once it's just a pixel or two out of your frame, leave it. That's a perfect spot, because that means it's in a pretty aggressive location to where it's going to be cutting the light that you want to remove from the set. Where if you were to suck that thing all the way back and it's just right in front, it's really the cut of light isn't going to be that noticeable. So I feel like getting the flags a little further away from your diffusion is going to make the cuts on your back wall or the unwanted areas go down more effectively.